Chop, the original Guillotine League podcast. Everything you need to know to avoid the chopping block. Chop is brought to you by GuillotineLeagues.com. Now, your host, Paul Charchian.
Welcome to Chop, the Guillotine League podcast. I am Paul Charchian, and very excited to welcome back my usual Tuesday co-host, Brian Johnson. Hey, buddy. So good to have you back.
What up, Charge? Good to be back. Carolina boys mount up. Panthers fever here in Charlotte. I got this sweatshirt for those that can see it. Coles find, Carolina Coles find. I can finally wear it. Wear it now.
I love it. It's pretty cool. And if you don't know, this is a podcast. I know most of you are used to hearing Chop as a podcast, also available on the Fantasy Life YouTube channel. And then you can see us chatting with each other, and you can check out Brian's beautiful fronds. You don't get a lot of frond talk on the Chop podcast.
I don't know what that is. What?
Right over your shoulder.
Oh,
those are fronds.
Fronds. Okay. Hey, I'll have to
thank your fronds.
My wife Christina for that one. I didn't buy the frond.
No, I would not trust you to keep anything alive in your place.
No.
We'll assume that's all Christina 100% of the time.
Just my Sam Darnold MVP hopes. There are more than alive right now.
They are alive. He's still only like betting line. He's still like the 20th player, but he's got a crack. Yeah, absolutely.
19th, 19th in pass attempts. He has fewer pass attempps than Mac Jones.
There we go.
Third in passing yards. Pretty good. He is pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, that tells you he's getting some deep ball connections, is what that tells me, Brian, for Sam Darnold. You made a great decision to bet on Sam Darnold doing MVP in August. The other great decisions that people made in August was to show caution on those players with early bye weeks. While you were gone, Brian, it was just, here's your top 10 list riddled with bye week players, because those players sitting on your bench are getting you no points, and that meant your replacement player had to step up. A lot of times it didn't happen. And where we are now, though, Brian, we're starting to get to the point where we've got players that have already had their buys and are showing up as most chopped players. So players from Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Houston, Minnesota, I think those guys are worth extra FAAB because their bye weeks are done. And unlike, say, players with week 14 buys, at that point, you've got a really strong roster. You can make up for those losses a lot easier. We still have some hard and a lot of bye weeks left. How much of a bump, Brian, do you give when you're bidding on players at this stage of the season that have already had their bye?
Oh, it's a big bump, but it kind of scales with the quality of the player. There'll be one on our top 10 list for sure. But yeah, it's for a premium player, it's upwards of 50% of the FAAB you might spend right now. It might be a little early for that, but no, with so many bye weeks ahead, like you said, and the bad ones, the players that got them in the rear view, certainly a big bump, and there's one specific one we'll be talking about.
There is one coming up later. I'm not like 50%. I'm not turning a $50 bid into a $75 bid for that 1 week differential. But
yeah, I pulled that. I'm returning that. We'll say 20% now.
There you go. That's right. That's basically exactly right. I'm about like a 20% bump. I'd turn a $30 bid into a $35 bid for players who already have their bye week. To me, that's huge. It's a notable advantage. One less thing you have to worry about with the key players that you care about. As always, Brian, self-evaluation, critical every week, including this week. If you don't have to spend a lot of money, don't. Be aware of what your roster looks like. Be aware of the bye weeks. We've got 2 teams on bye this week, and they're good teams, right? Baltimore and Buffalo on bye.
One is good.
Now it's a fair point. The other one has Cooper Rush, and it was Cooper Rush starting for a while at quarterback anyway.
I think it's a good time for the Ravens to have their bye week. That's for sure. But yeah, the Ravens and Bills. That's it. Those are the only 2 on bye this week.
That is it. If you've got long-term problems, you're going to have to be aggressive, of course, and spend some money. Brian, has your thinking changed on how much you'll spend on elite players? Players that, if we were drafting today, redraft Guillotine Leagues, which you can do, guillotineleagues.com. You can start new leagues anytime you want. Elite players that you would go in the first couple of rounds we've been at about a $200 threshold for this season. Has that changed for you?
Uh, it's all roster dependent, of course, right? If you were banking on Puka Nacua and Lamar Jackson or CeeDee Lamb, if it's an emergency, I'll breach the $200 barrier. But it's still, we are nearing the end, but we're still not even halfway there yet. So you still just don't have to come in last, and there's a good chance you don't unless you have huge holes on your roster. And if you do, then you address them with the superstars. You still bid on everybody, but I'm still not getting too aggressive unless it's absolutely mandatory. It's tempting, like every week, but yeah, it really depends on your roster. If you got a lot of holes, then you be a little more aggressive. But I'm still at like the $200 cap for now, unless of emergency break glass type scenario.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's about where I am. I start to get a little bit more open to spending a little more now. Now, a month from now, we're going to be talking about players' prices coming down a lot, but we're not there yet. There's still too many teams left. There's too much FAAB out there in your league. So, we're not going to see players get cheaper yet, but that will happen in about a month. Middle tier players, guys that are short-term starters, not your end game players, still have to show a lot of caution here, Brian. I think the temptation to overspend is high. I tend to fall into the $10 to $20 range for guys that I'm going to start for maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks. You got to be careful. You throw out $40 twice a week. It gets really expensive on these middle tier guys that are not players that are going to help you in December.
Yeah, you spend less on middle tier players at this point in the season because the player pool is deeper now. The free agent player pool. You'll be able to stream some guys. You can throw multiple bids on 4 guys for $0 that you'll probably be content with starting this week. So, yeah, we're really almost throwing the 30, 40, 50, 60, like throwing those bids out the window unless they're fall through the crack bids, because it's either it's not all or nothing at this point, but it's either you're going big or you're just finding the right streamers at low cost just to survive each week.
And your streamers are $0, $1, $3, maybe $5. That's about it for those guys. All right, Brian, let's pivot over to our 10 most chopped players, and a good time to remind you, this segment brought to you by Xfinity. Imagine all your football all in one place. It's easy. It's Xfinity. Imagine that. All right, Brian, the 10th most chopped player is Cleveland running back Quinshon Judkins, a 12.5% chop rate, utilization score of 65 out of 100. Here's his upcoming schedule, Brian. Miami, very favorable. Then at Patriots, shockingly hard, and then a bye week. So 2 out of the next 3 for Judkins are tricky. Last week's median price on Judkins was $205. I want to start here on this discussion with Judkins. In your opinion, is Quinshon Judkins an end game player?
Man, he was getting the usage, not early in the season. He wasn't really on roster and they were ramping him up. But once they ramped him up quick. I was a little concerned with the usage last week, though. So a little more Jerome Ford than I was hoping for. But man, he's going to have a great game against Miami. Everyone's been having great games against Miami. So I'm factoring that into the bid this week, especially if I'm desperate at running back. But Judkins, among, like we'll see on many of these players on this list, looming bye week, you have to factor. But I'm not saying he's an end game player yet, but he has the potential, especially if the utilization keeps up. I need to see Dylan Gabriel, have bring a little more balanced attack to this offense. Maybe it's Shedeur Sanders. I doubt it, but not an end game player yet. But I'm going to bid close to end game player prices. If the buy was a little later on, I bid higher. But I'm at 140 on Judkins now, and that's if I'm desperate. I mean, it's really, he's going to carry you this week. He probably, a Rico Dowdle type performance is looming for Judkins, hopefully. But I'm just going to play a little conservative here and go 140. Might not get him, but I'll be okay if I don't.
This is the rare instance where I am bidding half of what you're bidding, and it's because I don't like him at New England, I don't like buy, and I don't like Quinshon Judkins' overall offense. And he's not getting much use in the passing game, which worries me. He's only 1.8 receptions per game. That gives you some downside on Judkins. And just like last week, he had a no-catch game last week, and here he is on the top 10 list. We love our running backs that can just chip in like 3 catches a game and 20 yards. It helps so much just to get that extra bump in the passing game. Judkins, not a guarantee for that. Even though he can catch, they just, in my opinion, not using him enough there. So I'm only at $75 for Quinshon Judkins. All right, Brian, the 9th most chop player, Buffalo running back James Cook, a 12.5% chop rate, utilization score, pretty healthy, 78 out of 100. Tricky here, he's on bye. Then at Carolina, which is an improving defense, particularly against the pass. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then Kansas City. Last week's median price on James Cook was a very healthy $303. I do believe he's an end game player, Brian. I think you do as well. What kind of bid level are you looking at for James Cook?
Yeah, this is it's my first player on bye that has been on this list. I don't know if any have come up the last 2 weeks, but it's an interesting scenario. If you want to bid on a player on bye, you can only do it if you are fully confident you have the players on roster to survive this week. If you got 2 or 3 holes, especially running back, you're not bidding on Cook. You'll throw $30-$40 at him. Maybe he slips through the cracks, but he's worth more than that. It's a tough matchup against the Falcons. He did get it done on the ground from a combo yards perspective. Ray Davis vultured him. If that didn't happen, he's not on this list. He is an end game player for me. But my bid, if I am confident I can survive without James Cook, you'll get the discount because he's on bye. I'm going to be aggressive and go 170, and that might not be enough, but that's where I'm at.
I think you're right. It won't be enough. I'm at 201 for him. I'm throwing that extra $1 in there to try to get somebody. I'm at 201, and if you think everybody adds a $1 to make it so it's not round numbers, then you should go 202. We don't love adding players on their bye week, but Cook's been a very reliable, productive player. And here's the biggest thing with Cook, and we saw this last year, it's continued this year. Cook continues to get goal line carries, even though Josh Allen, of course, can tush push about as well as Jalen Hurts, but Cook's still getting lots of goal line carries. He has scored 4 touchdowns from inside the 2-yard line this year. So super safe that way. I love Cook. He's an end game player. $201 on James Cook. The 8th most chop player, teammate Josh Allen. I'm surprised to see him in this list. Last week's median price, $257. He's got the same schedule, obviously, bye week at Carolina and Kansas City. I do believe he's an end game player for your fantasy team. Brian, we're usually pretty cautious about spending on quarterbacks, but Josh Allen is often the exception to the rule. What kind of dollars are you putting down on this end game player?
He is an exception to the rule. Hopefully he stays that way. Lamar Jackson, not so much right now, but we're not talking about Lamar. As you mentioned on bye, he is an end game quarterback. There might be a couple, threatening that position as we get towards the end of the season. Drake May, maybe, but Josh Allen, 257. No, definitely not. Even though he's top tier quarterback, there's a chance we see him on this list again. All we need is one big James Cook game, right? And we're kind of banking on those. And then Josh Allen's right back on this list. So I'm not even going triple digits on Allen. I'll go 70. And that's if I'm like streaming quarterbacks right now. I'm still comfortable kind of streaming quarterbacks right now. I don't think I feel the need to acquire quarterbacks. The last end game player to get for me. Because they can bubble up. And so they can at every position, but they're harder to get at other positions. So 70 on Allen for me.
I'm in the same ballpark. I'm at 85 on Josh Allen. And the reason I kind of like him almost going into this bye is by now you already have another good quarterback. So I can survive this bye almost certainly and have Josh Allen waiting for me. So I'm willing to spend right now. Now, he goes at Carolina. They've been a shockingly competent pass defense. And, we've thought Buffalo's had all these layup games that have turned out to be a lot harder than people thought. Saints game was trickier than people thought. And then, of course, we had Atlanta on Monday night. That was tricky. This Carolina one could be too. But nevertheless, Josh Allen's a special case. He gives you a very high floor, even though he's on this list. He usually doesn't hit the floor. And the huge upside that you get with the rushing stylings of Josh Allen. We'll spend for that. Then our third in a row. I don't think we've ever had 3 guys in a row from the same team. You never even get 3 in the same top 10, let alone in a row.
Are we going
And
for
Matt
4
LaMarca,
like their Super Bowls?
nicely done with our guillotine, our Bills guillotine chopping 3 times. Buffalo tight end Dalton Kincaid, a 13.1% chop rate, a healthy utilization score of 72 out of 100. Last week's median price was only $33. I had to put a lot of thought into whether or not Dalton Kincaid was an end game tight end because I think he's right on the fringe of that, Brian. Are you paying for Dalton Kincaid right now? And do you think you can ride him through December?
Yeah, he certainly was performing like an end game tight end through the first 5 games he played. Touchdowns in 3 of those 5, 6 catches for 108 yards last week when he didn't score. Probably would have scored against the Falcons. Dawson Knox did.
Right, got it instead, yeah.
Did not play. So, yeah, I mean, Brock Bowers, who knows how the rest of the season is going to fare for him. Of course, you're not going to play Kincaid this week, but I like the bye week discount. And, he didn't play last week because of injury. I'll be a little aggressive here because he has end game potential, and you can certainly start him at tight end, hopefully starting next week for weeks to come. It's a tough one. I said I hated the $30-$40 range, but I'll go like 20. I'm gonna do like the extra $2 thing and do 27 on Kincaid. I feel like someone's gonna bid 25 on me, and then maybe a 26. So I'll throw in 27 and win them.
I've got Kincaid at $30. So you and I, again, right in the same kind of ballpark here. His utilization score, Dwayne McFarland's utilization report is fantastic. We highly encourage you to check that out at fantasylife.com. And by the way, you can get fantasylife.com tier 2 premium for free if you go to fantasylife.com/Comet and install the Comet browser. That's all it takes. It's free. The Comet browser is free. And then you get premium tier 2 level subscriptions, including the utilization report at fantasylife.com/Comet. Okay. Kincaid has had a utilization score north of 63, which is pretty good for a tight end and really good for Dalton Kincaid in 4 of his 5 games. So he's finally pulled himself away from Dawson Knox, and presumably, since Dalton Kincaid was a game time decision on Monday night after the bye, I assume he's going to be okay. And Carolina, which we mentioned, Carolina is a very improved pass defense, but where they're getting killed, tight ends. They've allowed the second most PPR points to tight ends. So I like Kincaid here. $30 feels like an attainable amount for Kincaid. If you're in a pinch at the position, I could see going higher. The 6th most chopped player, Philadelphia running back Saquon Barkley, making, I believe, his 4th out of 6 appearances on this list. Unbelievable. Oh, there he is with the scythe right there. It's a scythe, right? I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Is a sickle?
Saquon Barkley. Well done, Matt LaMarca. That looks great. Very menacing. I wish he were this menacing on the field right now. His utilization score, 83 out of 100, which is good. Here's your upcoming schedule for the Eagles. At Minnesota, then the Giants, then the bye week. Last week's median price, $350 for Saquon Barkley. He is an end-game player, isn't he, Brian?
I don't know. I think Rico Dowdle might be more of an end game player right now, considering Rico Dowdle has more combo yards over the last 2 games than Barkley has all season long.
That hurts. That hurts.
But it's likely not all his fault. Right now, his percentage of carries that are going for negative yards before contact are at 36%. That is the highest in his career, worse than any of his years with the Giants. For reference, it was 24% last year with Philly. The league average is 26%, so he's getting let down big time up front. But, I'm not saying it's true, but, the skeptics were saying it was a long season for Barkley last year, a lot of tread, maybe a lot of curse from that reverse leapfrog where he farted on the guy's head at peak height, probably. That might have been the peak of Barkley's career.
Probably. You've decided.
I would have. If I was up there, I would have thrown a little.
You can force that.
There's a little.
What if it goes wrong? What if it goes wrong in that moment? No, and you know what I mean by that.
And that's probably even worse for the guy below. But no, right now, not an end game player. No.
Wow. Not. I think he is an end game player. for Barkley. So what are you putting at? How much are you putting at last week's median price again on Barkley? $350. What would you put down on him since you don't think he's an end game player?
With the week 9 bye, and Vikings coming off their bye, that's a tough matchup on the road. Giants have a fierce front seven. Those are always going to be rock fights. The Giants, Eagles. And then the bye. I'll throw 120 on them, and if I get him, great. But I bet we see Barkley on this list again. The Eagles they're hungover, man. I don't know what else to say. Not too interested in the offense right now, outside of Dallas Goedert. And Hurts.
Let me give you
Jalen Hurts is money because Jalen Hurts is making all the touchdowns. I mean, there's no. What did they run it? 5 straight tush pushes from like the 4-yard line too.
Yep. It's bad TV, but it's good for Jalen Hurts. That's for sure.
It's awful for Saquon Barkley. That's for sure. So yeah, I don't know. 120. I'm going cheap.
Here's everything broke right for Saquon Barkley last year. And everything that we worried about with Barkley all the bad stuff's happened this year, basically outside of injury for Barkley. Let me give you some eye-opening Barkley stats. Among starting running backs, so I'm talking about running backs with at least 50 carries. Here is where Saquon Barkley ranks in some key metrics. In yards, rushing yards, 22nd. Yards per carry, 30th. Yards before contact, 23rd. Yards after contact, 30th. And avoided tackle rate. And this is really on Barkley, which is the weird thing, right? This isn't blocking. This is avoided tackle rate. Go break some tackles, dude. 31st. That is not the Saquon Barkley we saw last year. No part of his game is really clicking. He has failed to top 58 rushing yards in 4 straight games. And he's just chipping in 23 yards through the air. I mean, these feel like Tony Pollard numbers, but this is Saquon Barkley. This is a tricky spot for him. I'm at $150, even though I do feel like, where you and I aren't that far off of what we would bid on him. I do think he's an end game player. He might be a flex player, but he's still an end game player on my roster.
Yeah, I can agree there where he's still flex worthy at the end game level, but he's no longer locked in at a running back. I need to see the catches. He needs to up the receiving for that.
Would help. That would help.
But the tush push, man, it's just it's killer. Just saps.
But it should have been last year too. I mean, what did Hurts have last year? 14, 15 rushing touchdowns last year, and it didn't stop Barkley. That's the part that's a little inexplicable here. All right. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to have Xfinity. All the games, all in one place. First, there's Sports Zone, every football game and over 1,000 college games. Highlights, alerts, all in one place. Then there's Multiview, view up to 4 stadiums at one time. Then there's the Xfinity Fan View with live scores, odds, and stats all in one place, personalized to you as well. And then Xfinity Enhanced 4K, simply stunning visuals. And Voice Remote. All you have to do, pick up your remote, say football, or in Brian's case, say, I love getting knocked out with $1,000 of FAAB left. Any of those things can work with the Xfinity Voice Remote. Imagine all your football all in one place. It's easy with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change.
Hey.
All right, Brian.
I haven't been chopped yet, just for the record.
Oh, you have not? You have no chops? No chops on the record yet. Good for you.
No chops. Chopless.
Chop free.
Just jinxed myself big time, though. But
That's the first 5 of our 10 most chopped players. Let's get to the second set. Beginning with number 5, New York Jets running back Breece Hall, a 13.3% chop rate. His utilization score, 73 out of 100. The upcoming schedule here is Carolina, then at Cincinnati. These are 2 pretty average to below average run defenses, and then a bye. Last week's median price on Breece Hall, $189. Tricky one here, too. Do you think Breece Hall is an end-game player, Brian?
Well, do we think Breece Hall is on the Jets at the end game?
Well, that's a fair question. It'd look awfully good in Kansas City red, I'll tell you that much.
Sure would. Or, probably any other. You prefer to be in any other uniform right now, I'm sure. I'm not. Probably. I'm going to have to fact check you a little bit on the Panthers' run defense, though. Better than expected, like their secondary. So far, Bijan Robinson, Devin Javonte Williams all posted their season low in combo yards versus the Panthers.
All right.
So
I'm showing they are giving up Panthers. Yeah, middle of the pack. Yeah, you're right. They've been better than hope. It's through the air. They're getting killed through the air. And so that's an X factor here. Hall can catch, which is nice. Panthers have allowed the 4th most running back receptions. And so I think it's the dual purpose backs that are still getting a little something done here. They've given up passing reception touchdowns in back-to-back games to opposing running backs.
Well, that's what we need from Breece Hall to be an end-game player, to even closely consider. He's had healthy catch totals like the 3, 4, 5. It needs to be up in that 7, 8, like Alvin Kamara prime range. He had 0 against the Broncos in London.
Yep.
That is why he's on this list. If that happens, it's bad news. I mean, the Jets they're bad news. So a trade could be a good thing. As of now, I'm not going to consider Breece Hall an end-game player. I don't like the matchup this week. It's much better against the Bengals in week 8, but the bye in week 9, I got to be desperate at running back to even consider Breece Hall. And he's a guy that you might get a little cheaper right now coming off the awful game. So I bid $80 on Breece Hall because he is one of the better pass catching running backs in football, even though they didn't utilize him that way last week at least.
Oh,
But, if he gets back to the 6, 7 catches per game, he'll pay off at that price. And I think you can get him for that. So what I say, $80? $80.
You said 80. This is a little bit odd. I'm half that level because I don't want in on the Jets. And maybe I'm overreacting to last week's game, which was against a very good Broncos defense, top 5 defense. And, I shouldn't do that, but man, I don't know. Here's what we're looking at. A lot of inconsistency in the total Jets offense. Breece Hall hasn't scored a touchdown yet this year. That worries me. The Jets have had the ball inside the 5-yard line 10 different plays this year. He's only gotten 2 carries, and he went for -3 yards and did not score. If Garrett Wilson misses time, as expected, now every team, these next 2 teams, Carolina and Cincinnati, they are going to play to just stop Breece Hall. If Garrett Wilson's not on the field, I'll take my chances getting beat by Alan Lazard or Josh Reynolds or anybody else in that offense, right? So they'll play to bottle up Breece Hall at all costs. That worries me too. Bye week in 3 weeks, $45 is all I am spending on Breece Hall, Brian. The 4th most chopped player, Minnesota wide receiver Justin Jefferson. Another example of the bye weeks hurting players. His utilization score has grown up to 84 out of 100. The upcoming schedule, Philadelphia, then at the Chargers, and then at the Lions. Last week's median price, and this was, keep in mind, this was the median price for Justin Jefferson last week heading into the bye. So that probably pushed down the price a bit. It was $251 for Justin Jefferson. If JJ McCarthy, Brian, is the starting quarterback, how does that change your bidding thoughts on Justin Jefferson? And I do think it's going to be JJ McCarthy.
I will take your word, or I'll trust your feel when it comes to the Vikings, of course. Probably doesn't. I guess it's a slight downgrade for me from Wentz. Let's put it that way. We've seen better games. Granted, there were JJ McCarthy's the first 2 games of his career. Not a huge. I don't know. I'm on the fence essentially. Obviously, Jefferson, the player we were alluding to in the open with the bye in the rear view, goes again to stress the importance of early bye weeks when you're drafting or bidding on these elite level players. That this is likely to happen. But yeah, with this bye in the rear view, we're at the 200 cap for the premium players, but we said we'd bump it like 20%. I think 25% would be $50. So I'll go on the 251 on Jefferson. Probably not going to get him. But again, we're not so sure how great the situation's going to be if it's JJ McCarthy or if it stays Carson Wentz. So I'm comfortable at 251 on Jefferson. Probably won't get him.
It's a tricky one. Here's my worry about the JJ McCarthy situation is in those first 2 weeks when JJ McCarthy played, he threw 20 passes and 21 passes. At that stage, through 2 weeks, Justin Jefferson was 37th in wide receiver targets. I'm nervous that Kevin O'Connell is going to apply much of the same thinking to just keep the volume low for JJ McCarthy as he's trying to adapt to the NFL. I don't have it's a Guillotine League. I don't have the luxury of waiting a month for McCarthy to be a 30, 35 pass a game quarterback. And then what if McCarthy's not good? I mean, Thor's not on the show, so I can say that. We won't make any reference to this next Thursday when Thor joins us. What if McCarthy doesn't live up to expectations? Then what? So
we go to Carson Wentz.
then you go to Carson Wentz. But in the meantime, what has happened in that intervening month, right? So I'm lower than you.
Let me ask you this real quick. As someone who's been heavily tapped into the Vikings for decades, regretting not going after Aaron Rodgers right now, are you?
Well, it's not Rodgers. It's Darnold and
Daniel
Jones.
Yeah,
I mean, those are the guys. Those are the
only
guys
had those two in the same.
Yeah,
or
right.
If the Panthers only, I won't rag on the Panthers when they had Mayfield and Darnold.
Yeah, no kidding. Same time, right? Those guys might end up finishing number 1 and number 2 in MVP voting.
NFC Championship,
definitely a candidate, right? Yes.
Well, how great was that game? Not for me. I was pulling for the Seahawks in that one, but that Bucks Seahawks game, that's a rewatch game.
That was so much fun.
We just rewatch a game for fun. I don't do that too often in the regular season game, but that was one of them. But yeah,
Baker Mayfield's it's so much fun to watch. That dude, he cares so much, and when he picked up that first down out of the scrambling out of the pocket, makes a guy miss and then dives, it's just like, oh man, that guy's
there's going to be a movie about his life. He has lived like a walk-on to Heisman, first overall pick, busts, Carolina for a cup of coffee. Then remember he went to the Rams on like 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days notice, got forced into the game, and the Rams won. He was just throwing heaving bombs downfield.
And then and then he forces Tom Brady to retire. I like to put it that way when he goes to Tampa.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it.
Baker's the man. Number 2 to me. Fine. Sam's my number
1. My bid on Justin Jefferson, by the way, $155. The third most top player. You like mine better than yours?
Yeah.
Have you talked to?
I deleted my bid already.
Okay.
I edited it.
The number 3 most chopped player is Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson, knocked out with injury. Unfortunately, a 13.8% chop rate, utilization score of 83 out of 100 is very high. And that whole passing offense basically goes through Garrett Wilson. The upcoming schedule we've already discussed with the Jets, Carolina, Cincinnati, then bye. Last week's median price on Garrett Wilson when he was healthy, $175. Brian, I think the likelihood is that Wilson with this hyperextended knee doesn't play, goes on bye. So I think it's 3 weeks without Garrett Wilson. That seems to be the probability here. So if that's going to be the case, nice job, Matt, pulling up the Instagram on this from Adam Schefter. If Wilson's going to miss those 2 games and come back after the week 9 bye, week 10, how much are you bidding on a player who has, I think, outperformed expectations to this point, but 3 weeks is a long time to get 0 points from anybody on your roster in a Guillotine League.
Yeah. Last week was a disaster. He got hurt. He was getting blanketed by Pat Surtain, so no one's going to do well under it. But yeah, he was doing just fine for being a Jet in the games prior. Touchdowns in 4 of his first 5. So I think 3 weeks, you still have an expendable bench spot or 2 where you can afford to stash a guy for the right price and in the right scenario. And just Garrett Wilson, 3 weeks, I'm still interested. And, he's not a guaranteed end game player, but he gets targeted like an end game player. The Jets suck, yes, but that means they're going to be playing from behind. So he has potential. So I'll be somewhat aggressive for a guy most likely to be injured or miss time. Bye week looming, but I'll bid $30 on Wilson. You'll probably get him for that. And, if I get chopped, I get chopped, but whatever. I think he'd be worth the stash for that price.
You and I have the exact same price, $30 on Garrett Wilson, and I need an 80% discount off of last week's median price. If I'm going to sit on a guy for 3 weeks, it's got to be a heavy discount, and that's what you're getting with Garrett Wilson. Obviously, Jets offense is not one you want to invest in, but he gets so much usage. Maybe when he comes back, I'd be glad to have him. The second most chop player, Detroit running back Jahmyr Gibbs with a 13.9% chop rate, utilization score of 82 out of 100. The upcoming schedule is pretty interesting. You have a presumably tough matchup against the Vita Vea-led Bucks. Then they go bye. Then they go Vikings. Last week's median price on Jahmyr Gibbs, $401. Clearly an end game player. Are you going to break the bank on Jahmyr Gibbs?
Not at this point, because as hot as he started, I never said David Montgomery was bad, but David Montgomery's he's heated up big time. So I'm a little concerned there. And, you know, the Lions still have Super Bowl aspirations, so they're not going to run Gibbs into the ground per se. So still an end game player for sure, but week 8 bye, I believe, right? They're on bye next week.
Yep, next week. Yep.
I feel like I can't make a real bid on him. With someone's going to outbid me. I'll make a bid, but he could be that week's Justin Jefferson, the week 9 Justin Jefferson. So I'll just go 200. I'm just going to go right at the limit of the end game players that we laid out earlier. 200.
This is a rare opportunity to get an elite player who doesn't have any injury concerns. A lot of times when it's an elite player who shows up on this list, it's because of injury. Gibbs doesn't have the injury concerns. And he is the one Lion that always gets fed. You know, they've got so many ways they can score that Sam Laporta has down games. Jameson Williams usually has down games. David Montgomery can have down games. You know who doesn't? It's Gibbs. Over the last 2 years, he's never finished lower than running back 26 in 2 seasons. Unbelievable. The Bucks are a tough run defense coming up. No player, only one player has topped 54 rushing yards against Tampa, but they're giving up the 3rd most receptions to running backs, and Gibbs is a natural ball catcher. So I roll all that together. I'm pushing in some money here. I'll go 250 on Jahmyr Gibbs. I probably won't get him, but at 250, I'd feel pretty good about having Jahmyr Gibbs on my team, even with next week's bye, which we're always cautious about. But, you know, maybe if you spend a week knowing it's coming and you get ahead of that bye week next week. All right, Brian, let's talk about the most chopped player. We just talked about elite players and how often if they do hit this list, it's because they're hurt, and that's the case with Puka Nacua. A 19.5% chop rate is astronomical. His utilization score is a stunning 91 out of 100. The upcoming schedule, it's Jacksonville and then bye. And because he's coming in with this ankle injury, the presumption is he won't play at Jacksonville, and it's an international game at that. So the international travel to Jacksonville and then the bye week. I think they leave him at home, and they have to just like, you know what, Puka, get healthy, and we'll see you against the Saints in 3 weeks. Last week's median price, $425. Arguably the most valuable single player in fantasy football and in Guillotine Leagues is Puka Nacua, obviously an endgame player. What are you going to do here with a player that probably gets you no points for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I wish I took a stronger stance. I treaded on the Puka 101 pick this year, but I think next year, if nothing catastrophic happens, Puka Nacua, yeah, he's on another level of reliability and ceiling potential that like we really almost haven't seen. It seems like in quite some time, at least, and that's including talking about guys like Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, Nacua is like a lock for 10 catches when he's playing. It's unreal, but he's not going to be playing for some time, like you said. But like Garrett Wilson, I certainly will make room for Puka Nacua on my bench in hopes for I survive and am able to use him in a few weeks. So I was 30 on Wilson with Nacua, with the injury and the looming bye. I'm going to go over the 200, even though he's hurt. For premium players, not much. I'll go 203, but I have to be like real comfortable with my team and my FAAB amount to spend that money. This is a luxury right now to bid on Puka Nacua, aggressively bid on him. But that's as much as I'm willing to go. Even
all right, you're 203.
Yeah,
I'm at 245, which it is a luxury, but this is the sort of potentially game-changing player for Puka Nacua that can single-handedly perhaps deliver a championship. I can't get near the 425 that people were paying when he was healthy last week, but 245 is a lot for me at any stage of the season. I think I would pay that here and feel pretty good about getting Nacua, even with the knowledge that he probably gets 0 points for the next 2 weeks. The top 10 most chopped players brought to you by Xfinity. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Xfinity. Imagine that. All right, Brian, let us turn our attention to the regular players. These are traditional waiver wire guys that you're picking up in regular leagues that you also should consider here because they could potentially help you survive a week or two or maybe longer. I want to start at the quarterback position, and I want to talk about Jackson Dart. Now, I know Dart is rostered in a fair number of Guillotine Leagues, and we usually talk about players in this segment that we want to pick up, but I'm going to use this as an opportunity to talk against bidding on Jackson Dart, or at least bidding any real value on him. And he was great last Thursday against the Eagles. He looked great. First, mobile quarterbacks can keep you alive, ground and air. It really helps. Justin Fields was a very good guillotine helper until he wasn't last week. Fields was quarterback 2, quarterback 4, and quarterback 7 in his 3 full games before he had the meltdown against Denver. But here's the catch with Dart. He's playing Denver this week. The Broncos allowing 7 quarterback rushing yards per game. That's it. That is astounding. And they face Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, and Jalen Hurts. And after the Broncos, the Giants face the Eagles, who have already seen him once. They've got tape on the young kid. And I think they're going to be much better second crack at Jackson Dart. So I am showing a lot of caution on Dart. I am recommending a $0 bid on Dart, if anything. What do you think?
Yeah, you can't start him this week. I mean, if you're just desperately streaming quarterback, if you're rostering two to three, because that's like your weakest spot, then maybe a buck or two, and maybe he lights up Denver. He'll be on your bench. He should be. Then you're like, well, now I got something special here. But yeah, you can't bid too much on Dart. Still somewhat unproven for sure. Really wish they had Neighbors. Such a bummer that he went down.
I know, right? And that, that's another extra. Wendell Robinson's not going to be catching 20-yard passes again like he did Thursday night against the Eagles, in my opinion. And a side note to Mr. and Mrs. Dart. If you're going to name yourself something cool like Jackson with an X, why do you have the S in there? Why do you have to be Jackson? I think that's kind of weird. That's just me. I think we talked about this on last Thursday's show too. All right, let's go to Kamani Vidal. Probably picked up in most Guillotine Leagues already, but remember at this time last week, it was all about how Hassan Haskins was going to be the lead back. And because they had the Miami connection and everything, and instead it was Kamani Vidal dominating the backfield. And with Omarion Hampton on IR, it's Vidal, by the way, not Dahl. Vidal is going to get starters reps for 3 more games at least, and maybe more. So they've got a bye week in 4 games. And so some people think that they'll rest Hampton all the way through the bye week as well. If Vidal were available, what would you bid on Kamani Vidal?
I feel like he's probably not going to be too readily available because I feel like he was, some people were scrambling to get on Thursdays or Saturday in FCFS leagues. Well, we don't care about those leagues here. We're only bidding. Well, yes, we do. I'm sorry. We care about you FCFS leagues because you still bid on Wednesdays. What am I talking about? But I don't know. Yeah. Vidal, did I say that right? Vidal.
I said it wrong like 7 times and I said it right once. That's not cool.
I'm getting a Vidal. Sadly, some listeners won't get that reference.
I get that.
I know you do.
I'm old enough to get that. Whatever happened to that guy? What happened to the Dell kid? This is a Matt LaMarcus special. Matt,
I feel like that's the one.
What happened to the Dell kid who was like, dude, you got to get a Dell.
I feel like I remember something bad happened to him. Not Jared Subway bad, which was
that was
deserved.
Really bad.
But yeah, I remember. Well, when you had that Dell fame, that was powerful back in those days, man. He was like one of the first truly annoying spokespeople.
I don't think that's at all true, but that's okay.
Well,
there's been a lot of
like where it was like a little different. I don't know. You know what I mean? Anyway, I can't believe that. Who were we talking about? The player Vidal. I don't know.
Kamani Vidal.
He seems like a trap in that people are gonna, they're gonna chase last week's stat line. Sure, you might be able to replicate it, but I don't know. I'm not going to I'm not chasing it. I'll throw $15 on him if I'm really desperate for running back. But I think most leagues he's been snatched up on the cheap on Sunday. But if he's there, I'll bid 15.
Okay, $15. Come on, for a 4 or 5 week start. Yeah, what happened to the Dell dude? That's what we want to know.
I'd love
to know what
this
happened.
Is great.
Do you think he's in jail? Percentage chance the Dell guy, we don't know his name, we don't know anything about him. Percentage chance that he's currently in jail.
No, I can see it more like, bloated on a Vegas motel room floor, Dell money gone up the nose. I don't know, man.
Hopefully they paid him in equity, right?
I can't believe I brought this up. Yeah, totally. He should have hopefully had some stock options. Well, I don't know. Is Dell even good anymore?
We still haven't figured out this guy's name. Do we know this guy's name yet?
He was the Dell guy.
I don't know.
The
Yeah.
Dell dude. The Dell dude.
The Dell dude. Producer Matt LaMarca telling us apparently he was busted for buying drugs, and that ended his deal with Dell.
Hey, I was pretty close. I'm sure it did not go, not that I'm relishing in it, but probably didn't go up from there.
I would put $65 on Dell as a 4-week starter. This is one of those guys who's that in between level. Vidal to me is pretty good. So I think he holds off Hassan Haskins this whole time. That would be the scenario where I'd really regret spending the 65. If next week it's Haskins' job, then I'd be like, oh geez, what have I done?
Until the Breece Hall is traded to the Chargers.
Well, they don't have to do that anymore. I think that was probably something that the Chargers were looking at, but I think they got such a good game out of Vidal, they don't need to. Okay, I want to go to Tyjae Spears. So probably rostered as well, but I thought he looked really good last week, and it just, eye test, it looked good. And he actually led Tony Pollard in snaps, targets, routes, long down and distance snaps, and he ran for 6.5 yards per carry last week. This is just eye test stuff. And Pollard, they'd given him a lot of usage, and we have a change in coaches in Tennessee, and maybe that shakes things up, and suddenly Spears is somebody that's getting enough usage to be helpful for a few weeks anyway. What do you think about Tyjae Spears? Do you have any interest here?
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be serviceable for a while. Tony Pollard, very good pass catching back, but Spears is better at it. And like we saw last week, game script kind of pushed Pollard off the field. And I think we can say that that's going to happen on the regular for the Titans this season, unless there's another Music City miracle basically every week. So in full PPR, as Guillotine Leagues are, Spears is of interest to me, especially if I'm hurting at running back. I'd bid $10 on him.
I'm at 5 on Spears. So we're in the same ballpark for Tyjae Spears as well. 1 week starter possibility, Jordan Whittington. We talked about Puka Nacua probably missing this game. Whittington last week ended up leading all Rams receivers in snaps, and he only ran 2 fewer routes than Devontae Adams. So he's the primary beneficiary. If you need a 1 week fill-in, go spend $1 on Jordan Whittington against Jacksonville. They've allowed the 3rd most passing yards to wide receivers. And in that vein, Brian, Tampa Bay's wide receivers, your starters next week, they're on Monday night, so this is going to be one that you won't know for sure for a little while yet. But with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Emeka Egbuka all looking pretty dicey here, Tez Johnson and Sterling Shepard are your probable number 1 and number 2 receivers against a battered Lions secondary with injuries to Terrion Arnold, Devontae Maddox, DJ Reed, Ennis Rakestraw, and their star safety, Brian Branch is going to be suspended for this game. So Tez Johnson and Sterling Shepard, I think, are $1 players. You hear anything there out of those players that you want to fight me on?
No, I'll promise not to play Sterling Shepard. I played Sterling Shepard twice in various formats out of desperation. It doesn't work out. So I like Tez Johnson a little more. I don't know if you saw the clip. Tez Johnson scored last week.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful touchdown. Beautiful unnecessary gymnastics in the end zone. I'm such
that was totally necessary.
Until you blow out your knee. If I'm a GM, you're getting fined if you're doing unnecessary backflips. But anyway, there was MVP.
Ooh.
There was he was mic'd up on the sideline, so everyone's chanting MVP after that touchdown pass. We all know for obvious reasons, other than Tez Johnson, they got him sitting on the bench next to Shepard, and he's like, "You hear that MVP chant?" He's like, "I barely done anything this year." And he's like, Shepard's like, talking about Baker, bro. It's just pretty funny. Like he truly thought that the whole stadium was chanting MVP for him.
Well, he was pretty excited about his touchdown.
It was adorable. I liked it. But he realized it. He was like, "Oh yeah, of course, Baker."
Look, even the Russian judges gave him a 10 out of 10 on that landing. And here you are, like, oh, nobody should be doing backflips in the end zone. You are. It's not like that's the first backflip he's ever done. If you're pulling off that kind of move, you've done it a billion times. He knows what I'm doing.
I feel like every time you do that backflip, you're putting like three hits on your knees that you would have taken carrying the ball. It's just, I don't know. It hurts my knees watching it, so I don't know. I know they're young and insane athletes, but I'm against it. Someone's going to get hurt doing these stupid flips, I'm telling you. Remember Martin Gramatica? Wasn't a flip, kicker. Just a simple like Super Mario celebration. Down, boom. I mean, these guys tore his
ACL on it.
They blow out their knees just, making a quick move. But it's okay to do a quadruple backflip with a triple gainer in the end zone and be like, oh, that was good. That's not dangerous. All right, I'm done. I'm off my switch.
I don't think it is dangerous, and I think he should continue doing it.
Well, I want to see you try one then, Charch. I want to see you try to do it.
I don't have any experience doing that. That I would hurt myself if I did that. Absolutely. The Dell dude's real name is Benjamin Curtis.
Oh, good. Go back to this.
So now we have a name attached to it. He has retired from the entertainment industry, and he was typecast. You'll be not surprised to learn. Yeah. He has transitioned into a career in holistic wellness. In New York City, he has founded something called Soul Fit, a wellness center offering yoga, personal training, and life coaching. I don't know if I'm taking my life coaching tips from him. That seems, yeah.
He totally should have called it a Dellness Center, though. Whiffed there.
Oh, he could have. You're right. That would have been way better. All right, final guy I want to talk about. Staying with Tampa Bay and this opportunity with Evans and Godwin and Igbuka looking dicey. Cade Otton. This is interesting. Over the past 2 weeks, he's caught 9 passes, 132 yards. So he's been involved in the offense. But here's the real kicker on Cade Otton. Last year, there was a stretch where Mike Evans was out and Chris Godwin had already destroyed his ankle. And those two missed a stretch from week 6 to week 11. From week 6 to week 11 last year, Cade Otton was tight end 2.
Yeah.
When Evans and Godwin were out, go get Cade Otton, people. That is your angle right there.
I like it. Yeah. Pretty much been a disappointment to this point. So he's really not on many people's radars, even with all the injuries. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd throw $5 at Cade Otton for what could be a couple of weeks of use. If you're in a spot. All right. That's everything that we've got here, Brian. Reminder, you can get Fantasy Life Premium Tier 2, the highest level of premium content at Fantasy Life for free by going to fantasylife.com/Comet and download the Comet browser. That's it. That's all it takes. It's that simple. You will register with Fantasy Life. That's about all it takes. So there's no cost involved in that. We encourage you to try that. Brian, anything else for you? Great to have you back, my man.
Yeah, I'll close this with a trivia question. What sitcom had a dog named Comet from the 90s? I bet you Matt LaMarca knows this one, and he's free to chime in. I don't think you're going to get this one, Charch.
Well, it's not Friends. And it wasn't that cute dog on the Kelsey Grammer show.
I'll give you a clue. Cut it out.
I got nothing. Did it have a laugh track? If it had a laugh track, I didn't.
Oh, it had a laugh track. Probably the laugh. It was Full House. Their dog was
Full House.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was past my. Full House was for teenagers, and in the 90s.
I wouldn't say teenagers. It was it was mandatory viewing for people of my age back in the day.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks, George.
We'll talk to you next week. For everybody else, we'll talk to you on Thursday for an edition of Flex Around and Find Out. We'll give you 9 players you'll need to be cautious about starting. One of them last week was Justin Fields. We warned you. Hopefully you listened. We'll flex around and find out on Thursday. Talk to you then, everybody. Bye-bye.